In the magical town of Wizzywood, nestled between the whispering forests and singing rivers, a young wizard named Gilbert Grapeback was preparing for the annual Enchanters Extravaganza. Gilbert, however, was not your typical spellcaster. Where others had sleek, obedient wands made of dragon heartstring and phoenix feather, Gilbert was stuck with Stanley. Stanley was a wand of questionable heritage, rumored to be from the enchanted branch of a comedian tree, and he never missed a chance to cause a stir. Gilbert had inherited Stanley from his great-grandfather, a renowned wizard whose talent was matched only by his poor sense of humor. Since then, Stanley had been nothing but trouble. He would turn water into jelly during baths, switched Gilbert's voice with the frogs at inconvenient times, and had a penchant for turning hats into llamas. The morning of the extravaganza, Gilbert woke up to find his wizard robes dyed in a rainbow of colors. Stanley's doing, no doubt. With no time to fix the prismatic mishap, Gilbert had no choice but to wear them. He trudged to the town square, amidst the giggles and stares of other wizards and witches. "Quiet, Stanley," Gilbert muttered as the wand buzzed excitedly in his hand, likely proud of its work. "Make a giant bubble beard on the mayor today?" Stanley vibrated eagerly. "Absolutely not," replied Gilbert, though he couldn't suppress a small smile. Upon arriving, Gilbert was greeted by Magister Thistlewhip, the stern head of the Wizard Council. Thistlewhip's eyes narrowed at the sight of Gilbert's robes, but widened in shock when his hat unexpectedly turned into a purring cat, courtesy of Stanley. "Gilbert, control your wand or—" Thistlewhip began, but was interrupted by uproarious laughter from the crowd as they watched the spectacle. The competition began, and one by one, wizards and witches showcased their most spectacular spells. Gilbert's turn approached, and his hands sweated as he held Stanley tightly. "Please, let's just do something normal today," Gilbert pleaded internally. Stanley, however, had other plans. As Gilbert waved the wand to conjure an impressive magical beast, Stanley decided to alter the spell. Instead of a fearsome dragon or majestic phoenix, the crowd gasped as a giant, fluffy bunny materialized. Wearing spectacles and reading a newspaper, the crowd erupted not in fear but in laughter. Children clapped their hands delightedly, and even the stoic Magister Thistlewhip cracked a smile. "Extraordinary!" exclaimed Judge Winifred, clapping her hands. "Such creativity! Such humor!" Gilbert stood dumbfounded. This was not at all what he had intended. But looking around at the joyful faces, he couldn't help but smile. Maybe Stanley wasn't a curse. Perhaps he was a blessing in a very strange disguise. As the extravaganza ended, Gilbert found himself holding a trophy for most unexpected spell. He gave Stanley a begrudging nod of thanks, who, had it been capable, would have surely winked back. On the way home, children followed Gilbert, pleading for him to do the bunny again. Gilbert shook his head, laughing. It seemed that Stanley would always be a misfit, but perhaps that was exactly what Wizzywood needed. A little less perfection and a lot more laughter. From that day on, Gilbert stopped trying to control Stanley's quirks and began embracing them instead. And Wizzywood was all the better for it, learning that a little chaos could indeed make magic all the more magical.